Have you ever wondered, why do these boats cost so much money? We're seeing these days center consoles for $1 million. Like, what's the secret sauce? Well, here's the thing. We made a trip today to Edenton, North Carolina, home of, yes, that's right, Regulator. Guess what? We're gonna look at their flagship boat, the 41, and we're gonna figure out together, we're gonna solve this mystery. Why does a boat, a center console, cost more than $1 million? I'm gonna put on my safety glasses, and we're gonna meet with Keith Ammons of Regulator Marine in the factory, and we're gonna figure it out together. So Keith, we've got a 41 mold here behind us, and it always interests me what goes into making a mold and how many people go into making a mold. Just a second ago we were looking at it and there was like 8 people that were on it like ants just working around. What's happening right now? Just give us a quick sense for all the hands that are going to touch this during the process of building the hull itself.
The hull itself, right now what we saw is to see the white that he hasn't sprayed yet down there. That's a big piece of fiberglass they rolled in. When we walked up a moment ago, there's 9 people in this crew. They would have been rolling all that out. Yep. The next thing they're doing now is what they call wetting it. So he's going down squirting resin on it and wetting it. And the guys will come behind him and just kind of squeegee it off, get all the excess resin out with that layer of wetness that's on there. When you see that step, there's only 3 or 4 people that's kind of squeegeeing, getting the wetness off. What we saw a moment ago was the whole crew rolling it. This boat's going to have about 18 layers, different what we call bottoms, about 18 bottoms. The one they're doing right now that we just saw doing, they'll let all that dry and they'll come back and they'll put another layer, then another layer, then another layer. And each layer is a little bit different than the other layer. The engineers are called for some of them to be cross pieces, some of them to be linear pieces. It's various what they do, but it's multiple layers. If we'd have been here about 24 hours ago, a little over, we'd have seen them putting the gel coat on. Because the first thing they would have put on was the gel coat. Right. Then they would have gone to barrier coat, then additional layers all the way through. About 4 days working 24 hours a day is what it takes. 4 days working 24 hours a day. Correct. In order to have the hull ready to pull from the mold? Correct. Correct. Wow. And how many people are going to touch it during that period? Well, you're going to have 9 people on the primary crew here. You have 11 people on the gel coat and barrier crew. So you're going to have about 20 people, not counting supervisors and stuff, that'll touch just the hull and the hull build part. Wow. And I got to ask one other question. This mold and how you have it on a rotating, it's just really, really wild. Just give me a sense, how much does it cost to build something like this so as to have the capability to even make a boat like this? Sure. So the trundle, which is this whole thing moves around. So the trundle part of here, I have no idea, but I got to imagine it's $40, $50, $60, $80,000, whatever the trundle with the motors and the big metal works all around it. The mold itself in here, you're looking at anywhere probably from $400,000 or $500,000 to $800,000 or $900,000, depending on the shape and the contours of the boat. But we spend about $500,000 or so a piece. $500,000 just the mold. Just on the mold. Yep. Starts to add up. It does. It does. Especially the big parts. You're easily getting to $2.5 million just in the molds themselves before you even start building, before you buy the trundles, before you have the cranes overhead to lift it out of the mold and do that as well. You picking up what we're putting down, people? Solving the mystery is what we're doing here. Figuring it out. So Keith, we're looking at what here? This is obviously the center console. Yeah, this is the center console for 41. Right. One of the first things I tell you to look at how thick it is here. 2 layers of fiberglass. There's actually 2 different pieces molded. Yeah. With a piece of core material that's all vacuum bagged together. So you got crazy thick. You got 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches thickness all the way. And the reason why this is so dang thick is we want to build in our boat a very solid boat. We don't want to hear squeaks, we don't want to hear movement. Which is, if you own a boat, I mean, it is, you hit serious chop or wake,
and like the rattling that you can get, and so this helps prevent that from happening.
What you got to think is of the console, the T-top's attached to the console, the frame and everything else. So if your console's not thick and supported, even your T-top, that's where you get that vibrations, that movement, and all that kind of stuff. So you have to engineer in your foundation in essence, so that your T-top itself all remains solid, doesn't rattle, you don't hear it move, you don't hear it shake, all those kind of things. So that's why you see this all the way down through the entire boat.
There's like 5 different layers.
Yep. So what is
plus the gel coat itself?
Yeah, the outside layers are fiberglass and gel coat in there. Your dark layer there is a polybond, that's a glue compound that's holding it together. Then you got a little layer of fiberglass in the middle. Then you got this core material, which is PVC material here. It's a PVC in there.
Okay, yeah.
So it's built in 2 parts. It goes together, and that gray, that polybond is what's holding the 2 things together, making it thick all the way around, and that's where you get that thick, heavy feel of the boat.
All right, so let's look at the T-top here for the 41 teeth, because your tops are a bit above and beyond. So break down, once again, the amount of people and the amount of time and the extra mile, let's call it, that goes into making a Regulator T-top special or unique.
Yep. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to build 2 different T-tops, a bottom and a top version.
Okay, so this used to be 2 pieces.
Used to be 2 pieces.
All right.
We put them together and vacuum bag them and fuse them together. But before you put them together, we're going to lay like puzzle pieces out of different core materials. So around these edges, closer to the outside, there's going to be 5-pound foam. As you get closer to the middle, there's going to be 8-pound foam. Everywhere, like an antenna goes or whatever, there's a piece of aqua steel that's in there. Where the bolts go in for the metalwork, it's going to be PVC on the inside. So there's a big puzzle piece of those. Then you put those 2 pieces together with the puzzle between them, and you vacuum bag them together, right? Okay. So all those different cores, where some people just make a solid piece of fiberglass and that's all that it is. We're going to core it out so very specifically where everything goes has something behind it that's a backing plate where it's meant to be there, number 1. Yeah. Number 2 is, when you build those 2 things together, now you got a rough edge all the way around.
Right, and this has got like a really clean bull nose to it.
Exactly. Surfboard edge, as we call it. So what they do is...
Surfboard edge.
This can be a surfboard edge all the way around. What I can tell you is, just this little edge all the way around, you see the 3 people working over here in it behind us, it's about 24 man-hours just to get that edge smooth. It's many more hours when you do the rest of it, everything all the way around, everything. But just that edge, this is all done by hand. That means for the rest of the life of this boat, there's no piece of trim going all the way around. Trim's going to rust. There's no metal screws. Even the best stainless steel screws going to rust. There's no caulk line. There's none of that stuff because it's made solid all the way around. Secondly is, you don't feel it move. You don't hear it rattle. You don't hear all those things. So all those extra hours spent on this surfboard edge T-top is where you'll see value long term in that boat.
Okay, Keith, so we've looked at the first major part of building what is $1 million+ boat, which is the hull. We talked about all that went into it up to this point, but there's other major components to the structure of the actual boat. People don't necessarily think about them or know about them. First one we've got is the stringer, or what you call the
grillage.
Right, and so break down what this is.
So the grillage is really a stringer. It's one solid part. It's the backbone of the boat. So this is, of course, upside down. Got to come off the mold. It'll go down into the hull.
Directly into the hull itself.
While the hull is still in the mold.
Yep.
It'll get polybonded, glued in. Once that dries, it'll get fiberglassed in. It'll be completely fiberglassed in. There's ridges, holes in the middle here. Those will get fiberglassed in, so it becomes one part with the hull. Then after that all goes in and done that way, the next piece right over here is what we call the liner. It's the deck. It's the part you walk on whenever you're onto the boat. Of course, it's upside down, not been built right now. It's just the fiberglass pieces. This is infusion, so it'll be completely infused.
So it's infused with resin.
Infused with resin, exactly.
Yeah. How many people and how much time for these 2 elements?
So once again, we run 5 days a week, 24 hours a day. So in here, I think you have a team of 7 working on these parts, and I believe it takes about 4 to 6 days.
Yeah, so we're talking about 7 people a week.
Yeah.
All week, they're going to work on this.
Exactly. They built this boat last week. They built this part this week, and this will be a 41 part that goes together.
And there's so much complexity to this, so much going on here. But once again, we see a ton of time And so now we're gonna go from here, from doing the hull to the stringer to the deck, and now we're gonna go into the assembly room and we're gonna bring it all together. So folks, we're now in the assembly shop here at Regulator. So to catch us up, what we've done is we've produced the hull and we've brought everything together in terms of the deck, the stringer, the whole nine, and up just to that point right there, just a basic shell, if you will, of the boat. We've got how much in terms of time and people invested so far, Keith?
We probably have about 80 to 100 people involved in there,
okay.
Especially we talk about the lids and all that kind of
yes.
stuff that comes through lamination. We probably have a little over 1,000 hours or so involved
okay.
already
yep.
of man hours to put those together to get to that point. Then when it comes into the back of the assembly shop,
yep.
we're going to take that hull and grillage system. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to add the liner to it.
Yep.
Okay? Once we add the liner, then we're going to add the deck cap, which we call deck cap, really the gunnel, one
yep.
solid piece all the way around. Then we're going to add the bracket and the engines.
Right, the bracket is what essentially your engines hold on to, right?
Exactly, it's the bracket that holds that way. And then as it starts moving up to the assembly shop, that's where you'll see the console, the tackle center, and all the options start going on that way. It takes about a month to build this boat. You're going to have about 15 to 18 people involved on this line.
Yes.
Those same people are going to work this boat for 3 weeks all the way down, putting everything together as we go.
3 weeks, just putting all that's involved. In this, there's a lot involved. Like for example, what are we seeing here behind us? We had someone in there just a minute ago, but this is obviously a major part of the 41.
Yeah, this is the Seakeeper.
Yep.
On the Seakeeper 5, and it is a major part of the 41 installed here. But what we didn't see, if we go back to lamination and when that grillage system was built, they put in 18-inch by 8-inch, an inch thick aluminum
block, right? Yeah.
Aluminum block. They built those into the laminate, so they were laminated in, so you can't
so
see
it's
them
purposeful for that because that's a standard part of this boat right
exactly.
here.
Exactly, it's purposely put in there, so that way when you through bolted, you're through bolting through those big aluminum plates, which are fiberglass and built into the backbone of the boat that's there. So it's all the purposeful stuff done. So just for example of the Seakeeper right here, this Seakeeper, if it was on an option on a competitor's boat, or you were to go buy this on a boat and add it after the fact, it'd be about $65,000 just for the Seakeeper part itself, not counting all the structure that you would need to build into the boat and stuff to do it.
Yeah, and the install, like looking at the prices now of the Seakeeper 5, it starts around $65-70, not including, to your point, all the components of the install. So it's not uncommon to find something that ends up, because I have to install this in Speechless. This is what's going in Speechless, because Speechless, 40-foot boat, going to get the same thing, and you know, we're looking at an $80-ish thousand install, or potentially more even, because we didn't design it before the fact, we designed it after the fact, which makes it even worse. It's a smart way to do it, but it changes the entire experience. But this alone eats up almost $100,000 worth of cost. So Keith, we're now ready to really look at the finished product. 425s, quad 425s. Why do we need this much oomph? Because the boat itself weighs how much?
24, 25, 26,000 pounds.
Okay, 25,000 pounds. You put 4 quads on here, excuse me, you put quad 425s on here, and the cruise and the top end numbers look like what?
You're going to be cruising at about 40 knots or so in this boat, 38, 40, 42.
40 knots, which is like what, 45 miles an hour roughly?
Yeah, that way it all depends on how heavy you're going to be in the throttle.
Yeah.
But if you want to run wide open or whatever, you can do that at about 65 miles an hour on this boat.
So we've got a cruise, 45 miles an hour, topping off around 65-ish, and apparently she can handle some wake. In fact, why don't we look now at that hull and at that V, because that'll help us understand it a little bit better. Okay, so this obviously is, for lack of a better phrase, it is a pretty famous hull. The Regulator hulls are very, very well known. What makes this special when you're looking at this V right now?
Lou Cadiga, arguably one of the top naval architects in the entire world, designed it. Look at this big, huge flare.
Yeah.
If I was standing outside in the rain, I could stand here and not get wet. There's enough flare.
That's right.
To keep me dry. That big flare keeps you all dry in the boat and stuff. The sharp angle as it comes back goes all the way back into the boat, and the way this hull is designed, it crushes right through water, slices right through, very small.
So this was engineered. How long, do you have any idea, and you might not know this, Keith, but do you have any idea how long it took that engineer, what was his name again? Luca. How long did it take Luca to engineer, design the hull for the 41? Because it's only, the 41's only been out for a few years now, right?
Going on 6 years.
6 years, right, okay.
But every one of our hulls designed, from our 23 all the way up to the Big Daddy here, he spends about 1.5 to 2 years on designing.
1.5 to 2 years designing the hull. I'm pointing this out because we're trying to justify, why does this cost so much money? Well, now, hopefully you're starting to already see it, because there's a lot that goes in to the production side, but also the engineering side itself, which is pretty dang cool. Okay, so let's dive into the features. We're gonna start from the bow. We're gonna move at that point to the console area, and then we're gonna move to the stern area. So what are we looking at up here that makes this 41 special?
All right, I want to point out to you the things that are different with Regulator versus boat. If you sit down right there, Marcus, and reach over and grab that handrail,
yes,
I want you to feel how it's ergonomically shaped. It's just not a round bar there. It's designed.
Right.
Also, when you're there, you'll have a USB outlet right there beside you. So now you can plug in your phone. You can do everything. You have USB power. Slide this way just a little bit.
Yeah.
You'll see you have an integrated pop-up backrest.
Yeah.
There you go. So now you can sit there, you can kick back, and integrated pop-up backrest, all designed into your boat with 4 cup holders in there. Look how large those cup holders are, so you can put a big Yeti.
You can hold my big gulp.
Yep, you can hold your big gulp with it. All that right here, plus a killer stereo system right up here behind you. There's also 4 more speakers back here behind you.
Wow, so we've got 4 speakers alone in the bow area of the boat.
Correct. All right here. Notice this big shade all up here, so now you can be sitting out on the sandbar with all your friends, hanging out. You got a nice table here if you want a table. Or we lower it down if you don't want the table.
Yeah.
Or you put it down halfway with the cushion on and make it a big sunbed.
Yeah.
And this is big space to hang out. And look how wide you are here. The next thing is right here in the floor. First thing I point out is a big full piano hinge. Remember, we saw the reinforcements in there, so it's reinforced on the back side of where that goes. You got this lid that comes all the way up. You got a big box so that it goes that way. Now, also on this, that's 260 pounds jumping up and down. This box is built into the boat, so it's nice and solid all the way there. Plus, I can all the way back in there. Got rod holders in there for 4 short rods. Your big long rods won't fit down here. All boxes, even the boxes up under you, the storage under you on both sides up there, storage under that front cushion, and storage here, and storage in here. Over 1,000 quarts of storage space in the front of this boat. Every one of these boxes are illuminated. So you're at nighttime, you flip on your lights.
Oh wow.
Every box is insulated. Now you would naturally think your drink box would and your fish box would. But you're going to catch so many fish out there, Marcus, that you're going to open that up and empty out all your life jackets and fill it full of fish. Then you're going to open up this one and empty out all this stuff and fill it full of fish. Then you're going to open up the one in the front, you can fill it full of fish as well. All of them are insulated. All of them are illuminated. The ones that you can store rods in, like this one,
yeah,
it's lockable. It's got a key lock.
Oh, that's smart.
It's lockable on there. And the ones in the floor are macerated as well. So I can hit a button and pump this out overboard.
So we got, she's pretty bad.
She is.
This is, I mean, I've sat in these lounge chairs off of the console, that center console. This is just to your point about the ergonomic component of it and just the comfort level. It's literally like the Mercedes, top notch.
It is. The material that you feel here is a what we call a salt material from Sombrella. It is a material that will not mildew and get moldy or anything.
Really? It doesn't mildew. That's an option on both cushions?
It is. It's a very high. To give you an example, if you were to have a 41-foot center console at some point, and you would have to upholster it with this type of material, the package associated with this boat is about probably $20,000 to $25,000 of the material that's on this boat for packaging.
Wow. So $25,000 just in the cushions. Yeah, that's really, really nice. And what do we got in here?
This is your forward drink box that you open it up. You got plenty of place to put all your adult beverages and whatever you have when you sit around the front. Have yourself a party at the sandbar or nice cold waters because you're fishing hard all day.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. So we're in the cabin here, Keith, right out the gate. We're about 6 feet tall, and it ain't close to the top. In fact, I got a bad shoulder, and I can do my arm stretches in here. This is probably the tallest cabin for a center console I've ever been in before.
Purposely done that way to give them lots of room and give as much volume in here as we can. Get nice cool air in here too to fill it all up.
Yes.
To do that, of course, hot air rises, so it'll make everything down here stay cooler and feel better. Queen size bed, so two people can lay in there and do that. This cushion comes off.
Yep.
There's a table there, so we can bring the table right up and make it a table, and you can sit around. If you prefer versus there.
Yep.
We have a microwave and a stove right over here and a sink, so we can get in here and do things, cook, have that.
So nice to have that option. And you know, the way I feel about it, people might say, why do you need a microwave on a boat? Some people don't think they're necessary. I'm telling you, when you're fishing 12 hours, a hot meal makes a dang difference. And as it is, you got a grill in the back, we've got a microwave as well. That just allows you to stay out on the water longer because you're not getting hangry.
Yeah.
And you're able to, you know, continue to focus on fishing. All these little things make a big difference in terms of the results at the end of the day. The other side here that I'm seeing is we got an incredible head. This ain't no normal head that we're looking at, especially for a center console.
Even with you there.
Okay. Wow.
I got a ton of height. I got the head here. I got the shower. I can close it in. And
so you've got the floor drain.
Yeah.
And you've got the stand-up shower. This obviously seals, right? So you're not worried once you close that. You've got complete privacy for the shower or to use the bathroom. And of course your fixtures, everything is really, really nice in here. Once again, you got the AC in here, so it's going to be cool. This is like you found a way to put almost everything you need in what is not a massive area because, again, it's a center console, right? With this particular model, we're able to achieve what is the best of both worlds, right? Like the traditional cabin style, walk around style. We've got that. I would not, you know, hesitate for a second to do an overnight with this particular boat because of the way that it's been designed.
Exactly right. You hit the nail on the head. All the advantages of a center console. A fast boat, lots of fishing area, so you can leave your dock at 5 o'clock in the morning. By 7 o'clock, be fishing in the canyons, way offshore, you know, be 100, 150 miles out, fishing, working hard out there all day long, and still be home by dinner if you want. Or you have all the amenities you need. You can just stay up, we're going to spend the night here, pick out there, spend the night, and fish all the next day as well.
Wow. And you can even take a shower before you get back to the dock. Now that's pretty dang cool. All right, Keith, so we're now in the console area here, and I gotta be honest, I feel a little bit like I'm in charge of the, I'm Captain Kirk right now, right?
Yep.
So a couple things just right out of the gate that I noticed. The seats and the ergonomic component of the way it wraps around my back feels very high end once again. I think it's just worthy of noting, and that's such a big deal when you're going offshore 50, 60, 70 miles. If you're standing, you just want that component, you want the support, it's clearly there.
Right, yeah, you see the curvature to your back.
Yeah.
Also, you notice it's triple seating. Each one is on individual footrest, and I can do that here. So at this point, I can be the passenger sitting here.
And I can still stand,
like that.
which is atypical.
Correct.
That is really bad.
Exactly. Or I can stand and you can sit. You can do whatever you want to. And whenever you're sitting in these, you'll notice the bolster's up just a little bit. So flip that down and sit in it, and you kind of sit back down in the seat. You'll sink right back down in there behind the bolster.
Oh, yeah.
In there.
Wow. It really does have a bucket style feel of locking you in place.
Yeah, almost I think of that race seat. Remember that nice race seat you kind
that's
of
a good way to. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. That's certainly a good way to look at it.
Where you go, full tilt steering wheel, so whatever's more comfortable, you can tilt it and do it.
Yeah, so this way I can just. Yeah, that's sweet.
Carbon fiber steering wheel.
Really? Now that you say it, it makes sense. It feels, it looks different.
It does. Feel it, and it does. Even those cold mornings, it's not cold on your hands.
Right.
Feel that rubberized from the backside.
You know, somebody might not appreciate that. But I have an adverse reaction to extreme cold, and the steering wheel is one of the coldest parts of a boat during the winter when you're winter fishing. And so the fact that that isn't so temperature affected, I had never thought about that before. I didn't know there was such a thing. Very cool.
Very cool. Yep. This upgraded carbon fiber steering wheel. Even you can stick your phone right over here and charge your phone as you're sitting there. On that thing. So we got the phone chargers. Very good.
Nice.
As well as you got 3 screens, all magnetic.
Oh, that's nice. So they fold,
Yep.
and this sounds. Listen, guys. If you own a boat, you might not think that this cover is important. I'm constantly screwing around with the covers for my Garmins. I actually didn't know I didn't know you could do that. That is really, really slick. And so now, if they all break down and they magnify together, and just like you can easily set it somewhere. That's slick. All right, cool.
So now you got the triple screens all the way across here. You have all your key components right here that you're going to use over and over.
Yeah.
Plus, here we're gonna see if they have it here. It's got a key fob. So this operates like your car. So when you're walking up the dock on here, the MyHim does. You can hit the button just like you want to pre-crank your thing.
Yeah.
It's going to turn everything on. Your battery's on. Going to turn everything on for you. Light everything up. You set the lights and everything you want to turn on. You hit the button when it's time to get to the boat. It's all turned on, ready. Your batteries are all turned on. You're ready to go.
Wow.
You hear, just like when you're walking away, you walk away, you hear beep beep. It's going to shut everything down, turn off all your pumps, turn off all your batteries, lock everything down, and you just walk away just like you would with your vehicle there. When you get up here and they've got everything running, you got your major things you want to hit here, as well as you'll have all your functions directly on the screen as well. So now you can control your windshield wiper. Traditionally on a boat, or what you're doing, if you wanted to operate the windshield wiper, you reach over, you turn on the water pump.
Okay.
You get your water pump turned on, then you hit the squirt, you hold it and squirt it however many times you want. Then you hit the button, you hold it, and you flip it, and then when you let go, it stops. This is going to be much more car-esque, like a car.
Yes.
You're going to hit the one button. The button is going to automatically turn on your water pump. It's going to do 2 squirts. It's going to do several wipes, it does, and it's going to turn itself off. You can turn on intermediate, you can turn on whatever you want to. When it cuts off, when it cuts off, it turns your water pump back off, and all done by one simple touch of a button, intuitive, versus having to go through all the steps that you're traditionally doing.
That's crazy. And of course, we've got AC.
AC right out here. So now on those hot days, you turn it on, you get a lot of air blowing on you when you're out, and get a feel of a little bit of a cool breeze.
Yeah,
to help you out.
That's nice.
So.
This is just has such a different feel for the for the console area of a center console boat. It's just it's gorgeous.
Yeah. Now, if you turn around and look up behind you, you got the 2 speakers blasting right there.
Yeah.
So now it's got the upgraded stereo system that comes standard on this. You can crank up the stereo right here and blast, and you'll see speakers all over the boat. Subwoofer on the backside.
How many total speakers does this boat have?
I believe it is 12.
I was going to guess 12 by just what I've looked
12
around.
And a
12 and a subwoofer.
And 2
Man.
amps under there as well.
All right, so let's look at this stern area, the cockpit area. Yep. All right, Keith, in the cockpit area now, immediately there's a lot of space. All right, it looks to me like we could easily have a situation where 4 or 5 guys could be fighting, or people could be fighting a fish back here and wouldn't be tripping over each other, right? So we got a lot of square footage.
A ton of square footage back here. Over 6 feet, I can lay on the floor and spread all the way out.
Yep.
Tons of room back here. All kind of tackle storage right down here. You can this well, you pull it out, you have Plano boxes,
Yep.
put things on.
Yep.
You got drawers in there. And you see how deep our drawers are as well. You got plenty of storage room all the way across. You got a barbecue grill behind your feet that'll slide out and sink.
So there's a grill here.
There's a grill, and I think we can hit the button over there, but I don't think the power.
Oh, it's not on. Yeah.
Well, you got a grill and a sink right here behind that. The slides out of your way. You put up Sure Shade, automatic shade. It comes out, shades all that over there. You see that piece right there.
And I love the style of the T-top here, and then you've got this shade, this component that'll come out.
It comes all the way out and shades this whole back.
That'll give us the shade. Wow. And I mean, I'm telling you what, it's like a mez seating, right? I mean, it's just like the ability just to sit here like this and to be able to watch your rods, because that's so much of the joy of offshore fishing. For those that haven't experienced it, isn't just reeling in the fish, it's watching the fish go after. It's the bite. The bite, there's something magical about the bite offshore that you don't get inshore. And this is like, in terms of just being an observe around, this is about as good as it gets right here.
Because you're raised, you're nice and
that's right.
Up in the middle of the area. You can have shade if you want it. If the sun's nice out, you pull out your shade. And you got good view of your entire spread all the way out there.
Yeah. All right, sweet. So Keith, as we're looking at this cockpit area, there's still some really important functional elements that are happening over here for fishing and for play. So break down the side entry door.
Yeah, the side entry door here, our dive door. Look, big enough, we can get our big tuna in here if we fish it. And the first thing you'll notice is no trim, no edge, no screws, none of that. It's all been made as one solid piece, which is the concept of Regulator all around. Next thing you notice, all this big, huge, heavy-duty hardware that you'd see. Big, heavy pieces on there. Then once we get them open and stuff here, we got this integrated ladder. You open this all the way up. I can now lay this all the way out. Get my ladder in now, and this goes right back down. So now, as we're here at the sandbar, I can leave it just like that. You can get in and up. The ladder's there, all the way in and up to do everything.
And this ladder, I can see, is longer than a lot of the traditional ladders, giving you the ability, because the boat is obviously up.
Correct.
It gives you the ability to get closer to what would be the water and to the surface.
Long ladder all the way down.
Yeah,
so you can be in the water and it gets deep down there, so it's easy to get in and out of the boat.
Super, super cool, super functional to have this capability.
Yep. Let me show you one other thing. On, put this ladder back. Reach behind there and close that door. Get ready to close the door. There's a little latch on the back side you can feel right there. Marcus. Okay, let's close that door. Next thing you know is the big heavy-duty hardware here.
Yes.
But also notice, this is a little small thing that's different between Regulator and some other boats if you look at other dive doors. Look at this edge that comes up here.
Yep.
Look at this edge that sits down there. That's a water dam. So now what happens is you're on some boats and you're coming in and this is a solid flat piece that is there. You can get water that'll spray through if the water hits the side of the boat. So the first thing you know difference in here is a water dam.
So you might have situations where you notice water coming in between, you know, what is almost like this gunnel area and the actual side wall. That won't be a problem, just the way that this is done and the way that it's molded.
Yeah, and the other thing is, if you notice, this is on a little bit of an angle right there. So when you lay this here, it lays flush. So what happens when it sticks out a little bit, if you rub up down to a piling, you can break your thing very easily. But to go ahead and integrate and make that at a little bit of an angle.
Y'all hear that? Just look. Hopefully you appreciate, if you're a boater, you appreciate this. That's really, really cool. We've looked at the transom area, and we talked about our seating here in the cockpit. Now, in terms of the storage down here in the floor and the additional seating, what are we looking at, Keith?
Okay, let's start with the storage first. Okay. First of all, you see a door over there. Open up that door right there beside you, Market. More Plano boxes there.
Nice.
More Plano boxes on this side over here with me.
Nice.
Plus, there's a freshwater shower right here.
Yep.
Feel that hardware.
Oh wow. Yeah, you can just tell it's totally different.
Yeah,
you can even do this. So it's different. It's not a traditional hose.
No, not at all. You got the full metal hose there. It's a heavy duty, not plastic thing. So when you come in, you got fresh water right here beside you, so you can rinse off as you're getting in the boat.
Oh, that's smart. That's really, really smart. You can shower as soon as you get into the boat, and you're not using a hose that's blasting off on you. You're actually using a shower. It's different.
And there's an integrated ladder here below us for the deck. If we were open, we could flip right out and come in and out of the boat without having to go get a stored ladder anywhere.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, cool.
Next, we saw in the boat before us all that big bilge area.
Yeah.
Open this up.
I'm excited for this.
So now then you can see the generator, which comes standard on this boat, but now you start getting a clean bilge that you can get down there and work on and do stuff with.
So this generator, just for those that are watching, because again, we're justifying why it costs what it costs, right? Generators and marine generators are not cheap at all. This is powering a multiplicity of things.
This allows you right now on this boat, you can go downstairs and operate the microwave, the TV, and the refrigerator, all that stuff directly off of this, as well as the Seakeeper
right.
around this. Or you can run off your batteries as well. The two things on this boat that won't operate unless you have the generator on is the Seakeeper and the microwave.
Right.
Everything else you can operate off of battery power and be fine.
That's right.
But if you have this on, then you're saving your batteries. You can operate everything off of generator power, and this can be charging your batteries as well.
How many gallons is the tank that I'm looking at?
The tank that you're looking at is 10 gallons. It'll last about 24 hours.
Okay, so you got 10. So you got a 10-gallon tank for your generator.
Yep.
That's going to last about a day.
Yep, you got about 24 hours of diesel. This is all diesel. So
right.
24 hours of diesel in the diesel generator to run your Seakeeper.
That's right. So another thing that I'm noticing and we saw this before, but the access is just great. I mean, I'm looking at this.
Up all the way down there.
We've got the generator, but I can now get in here, work around. You know, it's not mission impossible to get to the things that I'm trying to get to.
Yeah. Seating is always important. People need nice places to sit. So on the way out, this is one of the most beautiful places to sit.
Yeah.
Now, I got plenty of space right here to sit. Marcus, you come join me right here.
Yeah.
Heavy duty stuff. Even though it's two big guys on there, you don't feel it move and bounce and move around.
Yet you can completely make it invisible when you go into fish mode.
Exactly. Get out of your way. So now we can sit here with the people in the mezzanine seat. We can have a nice conversation and spend our 2 hours headed to the tuna grounds, chatting, telling war stories. Or better yet, coming home, sharing all of our war stories and our big fish down both sides.
This is it's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. So let's just talk about some of the financial components to it, right?
Okay.
Most people will spend on a Regulator 41. They're going to spend roughly what range?
Probably 1.1 to 1.3 would be the range that you'll see most.
So we're talking 1.1 to 1.3 million dollars, right? And if somebody says to you, who is this boat for and who would it not be a good fit for, Keith? What would you say?
It's for the very experienced boater to begin with. Somebody,
this ain't no rookie.
No, it's the person buying this boat is typically buying their 8th boat.
Did you hear that? And y'all have done the studies on this.
We have.
The person buying this boat is generally, this is their 8th boat. And that is because they look at all the little details, which a lot of people might not appreciate. But that person has made a checklist in their head over the course of the years that said, my next boat is going to have this. My next boat is going to have this. I wish I had this.
Exactly. And those people have been caught in rough conditions and got a little scared or worried.
Yeah.
When you're in this boat at 24,000 pounds, 41 foot, the strength it is, we show how thick and hard and heavy duty everything is on the boat, you feel safe and you're in a very safe boat. And people know the story of like the Queen Bee, of the boat that spent 3.5 years in the open ocean, the Regulator, that never sank. So that safety factor plays a role too for the person who's been boating for a while to go, I want a safe boat, I want all these other features, and now I care about the fit and finish of every small little detail of the boat.
Yeah, it's like got the like the safety of the Volvo, but the fit and finish of the Mercedes, that combo. And I would guess too that some might argue that if you were just like so hardcore fishing that you don't ever plan on going to the sandbar, this might have elements that ain't necessarily for that person, because there are some clear like social elements about this boat right here.
Right, yeah, you know, I say there's a spectrum. On this end, Marcus, you've got the hardcore fishermen never going to the sandbar, all they do is fish. On this end, you got the wine and cheese. Let's go to the sunset cruise. Let's go to the sandbar. We never go fishing.
Right.
Regulator purposely tries to stay in the middle. You will find features for both on this. So who this is for those person who's going to be well-rounded. It's going to be a family that's going to be on the boat. The wife's going to be on the boat. The husband is the hardcore fisherman. The wife is the sandbar person. Or vice versa.
Sure.
But they want a boat that does both. This is the great thing for that. If people fall at one extreme or the other, the Regulator is necessarily not always the best because it's designed for everything to be well-rounded.
Yeah. Well, well-rounded it is. And just to reiterate one last time, now that we're here, we're ready to push it out of the factory, out of the plant. We're going to send this one to where, Georgia?
This is going down to Orange Beach, Alabama. Down to
down to Alabama. The total amount of people and time that have gone into this boat, the total hours, and I know it's kind of quick math for you, but if you had to guess the total number of people that have touched it, that have worked on it, and the man hours that have been invested into it, you're probably looking at what?
The physical hands on this boat is probably 100 to 125 people or whatever.
Hear that? 100 to 125 employees have touched this boat right here.
Now, that's not counting all the engineers, design time, and all the other people. There's about 300 people associated with the boat.
Yep.
But only about 125 actually probably physically built something on this boat. Because I physically didn't build something on this boat.
Right.
There, number one. The number of hours, probably, if I'm guessing at this point for this particular boat, somewhere between 3,500 and 5,000 man hours went into this boat.
Y'all hear that? 3,500 to 5,000 man hours went into this boat. And so, in the world where I see this, because I'm on the forums, you're on the forums, people are saying all the time, how does a boat cost $1 million? Well, hopefully now that you have listened to this honest man, and boy is he an honest man, and that's why I love this company, because how many manufacturers would do what Keith Ammons and the wonderful Joan has done to allow us to come here, Saltwater Fishing University, break it down, really look at it and say, why does a boat, a traditional center console, cost $1 million, folks? Now you know why it cost over $1 million, and some of you are thinking, you know what? It's kind of worth it. And as always, my friends, make sure you like it, make sure you subscribe it, make sure you share it with your grandmother, because she needs to watch this too. Until the next time, stay salty.